Hello, everybody. This is the Pranzata podcast. Here I have my friend Dan Montealegre. I really hope I said your name correctly.
Hello. Yes, Dan Montealegre.
Montealegre. So you say it. Say your name.
Well, like if I'm saying Americanized, I say like Montealegre, and if I'm saying like the Spanish way, I would say Montealegre, and then everyone just is gonna mess up. Like
I have questions about your background and your ethnicity, but before we get into that, let me just introduce this. This is the Pranzata podcast. I was talking in the past about changing the name because I didn't want the abbreviation of this podcast to be Pranzata Podcast PP, but I'm just gonna own it now. This is the PP Pranzata. I gotta come up with a nickname for you guys, like PP Heads or PP Touchers or whatever. We'll figure it out. We don't have a choice because one of my listeners got me a Pranzata glass, so we're just gonna own it. We're the PP podcast. Yes. Cheers
to the PP gang.
To the PP gang.
Drink more water so you can do more PP.
Before we get into it, this is a podcast channel. I interview musicians. We have a musician here today, and we have some interesting questions for him. I also do my own music covers as well. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, hit subscribe. I'm horrible at pronouncing this stuff. I'm like borderline like I don't even know what my generation is, but all I know is this technology stuff is pretty difficult for me because I'm on the border. I'm kind of old. I'm in my 30s, but we have a real true millennial here. Yeah. Are you a millennial technically?
I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna start off this podcast with being annoying and be like, I just feel like it's so weird to like categorize people based on like age, and then also like where we live. Like the lines are like imaginary. I'm starting off strong.
Yeah, no, this is exactly what we want. But before we get into this conversation, because we're already doing good, hit subscribe, hit like, comment on anything as we go along. A lot of my friends will inbox me on Instagram and be like, hey, I like what you said. Comment in this comment section below, not on my Instagram, and we are going to get into it. So I already have like 10 questions for you based on like the few things you just said. So first question, more about your ethnicity. We've had this conversation in the past, like years ago. I thought you were Italian for some reason.
Everyone does.
And everybody thinks you're Italian. What is your actual ethnicity if not Italian?
So yeah, not Italian. Two most common questions I get is, are you Italian, and is your name Mike? Since I grew up my hair, that stopped the Mike thing. But so my dad is from Colombia, my mom is from Spain, and something actually weird is like people when they ask me like what I am, I feel inclined to say, you know, where I grew up. I say like New Jersey. Yeah. Does it make sense to be like a New Jerseyan? No, you have to come from somewhere. I don't know, but like if anyone could own a culture, I would definitely say like New Jerseyan.
That makes it kind of blends in with the thing you just said about the lines, like to not define people by a certain thing with the lines. That's really interesting what you said. So tell me more about your opinion on that, how you don't really like dividing. That makes a lot of sense because it's like we're all one species. Like, right. So why do we divide it between like, okay, you were born between these years, that means you're a Gen X or you're a millennial or this and that. Tell me more about that.
Well, we do it because historically it's helped us to do it. Categorizing things, for example, like putting a word to a concept makes it easier so that we can quickly understand what the other person's trying to say. And there's infinite, notes and sounds and ways to manipulate sounds. But we take like a certain range of it. Let's say I can say boat, I can say boat, and you still kind of know what I'm saying because we've categorized that. And it makes it easy for us to understand it quickly.
He has the most, I don't know if anyone else agrees with me, he has the most peaceful voice. The second he came into my house, my cat was like really receptive to him. And I was like, that's a good sign because animals are psychic with that type of stuff. And my cat just like went right up to him and his tail started vibrating, which means he's happy. So you have like the most peaceful, like Jesus essence about you, and you even have Jesus hair, so it all works out.
Thank you. I have controversial opinions on whether Jesus is a historical real person, but I appreciate the compliment nonetheless.
That's actually kind of one of my questions. Okay, so perfect first question then. I had a question for you. So you mentioned to me before that you are a positive nihilist. Yes. You were saying you were a positive nihilist, so I want to know more. What do you mean by that?
So by a positive nihilist, I would say, typically when someone thinks of a nihilist, they think of someone who has realized, oh wait, like God doesn't exist. We're going to die. Like the only thing we know about our lives is that we are going to die. But like that's the only thing for certain. But I'm having a good time right now. And like by golly, why can't I? I don't have
by
to.
Golly.
Yeah, by golly, I don't have to believe in a God or something that someone wrote in a book at some point for me to enjoy my life.
See, here's the weird thing. I don't even know if this makes any sense or if I even thoroughly understand what nihilism is then. I am a nihilist who believes in God. I don't know if that's possible. I believe in God, but I don't believe in like religion. Like I don't believe in a structured religion, but I do believe in something bigger and greater than me kind of guiding me. But I just use the word God to describe that, and I don't really even know what that thing is. So it's like I'm a nihilist in the sense that I think like you can define your own life and none of this matters type of thing. Right. But I also believe in something. So I don't even know what I am.
Well, I think again, it's the categorization of the word God, because some people want to say something that encapsulates everything, all knowing, all powerful, and not necessarily the story that we know because we happen to be born within these past 1,000 years where Jesus is popular and we have or Mormonism. I mean, there's a bunch of different kinds of religions. Yeah. But I think it is possible to believe in some sort of like greater being. Because if you think about it, in our arms right now, every red and white blood cell is going about a task, doing its daily life, just like we are. And imagine if it could like look up and imagine something that's so much more complex, and it could like built up from itself. Yeah. Just zoom out, more complex, encapsulating all the intelligence that is that. I think that is us. If we were to just zoom out infinitely, you would have all knowing, all consciousness, all complexity, all being, and that is like the universe.
They say if you observe nature, you can learn a lot. So it's kind of like, oh God, what is that thing called? It's like when you view something tiny and it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I don't know the word for it, but it's fractal. That's what I was thinking of, fractal. So like if you observe the trees, for example, and you observe like the veins on the trees, it reminds us of like the veins in our body. And there's some things on a bigger scale. I'm so excited. I feel like I got whatever excites you.
That is exactly what excites me, because that's like the red pill, is realizing that the universe is entirely fractal. It follows patterns based on like, the path of least resistance and like, mathematics. Yeah. And we are part of that. Like people don't realize we are literally just like if you would say a tree, a worm, a dog is natural. They're part of nature. We are also a species of animal. We are literally like part of nature. And people forget that, So because of the time we're born, a lot of people believe in like the story that is Adam and Eve, and they're like, oh, we were created and put here. But we are literally a species, and we follow the path of least resistance, which is like a much bigger red pill, which is goes into hard determinism. Like, do you believe in free will? Do you believe that we're just, matter following a sequence that you could predict? Yeah. If you could calculate every particle and its trajectory, So that's a whole rabbit hole. But
that's really interesting. I've always noticed that myself. Like, even things that are like built, like I always notice that things that humans build, like for example, the shower head. I don't know, this is so random, but I feel like sometimes I'll notice like, oh, the shower head, like it's not the shower head, but the one that is like a long cord that you can take out. I'm like, it literally resembles a human spine, like which the human spine probably resembles something else. And it's like anything that exists had to have been like inspired by something else that already exists in nature, if that makes any sense,
yes, it does, and it goes through like very slight alterations, I want to say, like nature and randomness is just trying out every single combination of matter, because you have infinite time, and it's been going on, like contrary to popular belief, matter cannot be created or destroyed. It's been going on infinitely in the past too, so there's no reason to think that time can go on infinitely in one direction and then just not in the other, like it doesn't just start. But so matter is just going through every combination, and you're gonna see like similarities and like everything just by like a little bit.
So if you think that nature is going through all these combinations, do you think all the combinations have been exhausted already? Do you believe in absolute truth that like all the combinations have already been exhausted because there's only certain formulas in nature that exist?
Like I want to say maybe, because I do think of the concept, like if you hear someone sing da 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 da, someone have sang that, and those notes have been recreated by the sound of maybe bubbles popping in a river, but like, so maybe that's been done again, like just like saying the sequence 1 to 9. I don't know if all the things have been exhausted or if they always, because like, is time happening, has time already happened, or like, are we in the middle of like a line? Like, a lot of people look at it linearly, and I can't say that I know.
I've heard some theories that like things, there's a bunch of things. Have you ever heard this theory before, that there's like a bunch of infinite possibilities happening at one time, and there's a bunch of you
Multiverse?
existing? Yeah. Have you heard of this theory before? So you seem really interested in like the sciences and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm a very curious person, and it lends itself to like looking up just random factoids about science and whatnot.
Etzel told me that you're our friend Etzel. Shout out to Etzel Flores.
Etzel!
Wait, we have to quote Etzel, because Etzel has a noble quote that is on your profile. So we need to tell everybody the quote that Etzel said.
Quote is, oh my god, I almost never use it. But the quote is, I know I'm gonna mess this up. I just know. The quote is, do it not because it's going to make you happy, but because it makes you happy. I probably messed it up. But
no, I think that's pretty accurate. I asked one of my other guests to like say a quote, and every time I ask somebody to say a quote, they're like, oh my god, I'm gonna fuck this up. And I'm like, I don't think I would be able to properly like cite a quote either. So I don't know why I'm asking people to do like what I can't even figure out how to do myself.
I feel like being able to like regurgitate something you memorized versus like coming up with something new is like exercising two different muscles. Yeah. And I've been like practicing. I've only been doing leg day. I've only been like improvising stuff. Yeah. And like I've been really bad at regurgitating.
So back to the Darwinism thing though, because Etzel said that you were really into Darwinism, evolution. So I have an interesting question for you about evolution.
Yeah.
I used to be into this, but I kind of like got off track with it. But my question for you is, now that we are becoming such a technological, era, how do you think the human body in the future could evolve to that? Do you think parts of our body, do you think we just won't have a face anymore? Like, what do you think have you had any like thoughts about this before?
So many thoughts. I mean, if you think about it, well, first of all, we're not really ready. Like for thousands and thousands of years, our ancestors have basically been doing the same thing, and so we can easily be manipulated by certain, like say like how Facebook uses our dopamine and trigger. So we're not ready for it. But at the same time, in other aspects, we are like cyborgs. We have glasses, we have prosthetic legs, we're also coming up with new senses. So like there's someone who can see. They have like this thing attached to, I think, either their spinal cord or their brain. Yeah. And then it tells them what colors are in front of them. We're more and more integrating technology.
So it's like we're still mostly human, but just honestly, like just the fact that I carry my cell phone around with me and that I feel anxiety when I put the cell phone down is already a sign that the cell phone is like becoming literally like a part of me. I said this on another episode. I was like, it feels like a limb. It feels like attached to me. Like when I don't have my, like I'll be practicing piano and for some reason I just need the phone there even if I'm not using it.
Right, because
I'm like, I don't get it.
Like, all right, I can actually explain that. I mean, imagine you were another animal and you existed within, the past few hundred years and say 100. You would say humans drive cars. That is a thing about, just like if we were describing like a crab guy. Oh, no, not a crab. What are those little guys in the shells? Like,
I don't know.
Like a hermit crab.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, hermit crabs, they use like a shell, or like spiders, they have webs. And, but this is like a recent thing. And now I would describe as a human as being in a car, as holding a phone. Like that's part of what it means to be human now. Yeah. Which is really weird. Like,
yeah, like when you walk around, you literally see. Remember the we went through this phase with the what was that game everybody was playing? The Pokemon. What was that?
Pokemon
like
Go.
Everybody was like tuned into this game and like walking around like town.
Yeah, and during those like that year, like it was more human to hold a phone than it was the last year. Like,
I bet, what's funny? I wonder how COVID affected the Pokemon Go, because they probably had plans to make another Pokemon Go, but they don't want like people in big crowds, so it probably messed up the Pokemon Go game. Hardcore,
Absolutely. There's like
Yeah. So I like to ask questions about self-awareness on this podcast. So I like to ask some like personal questions. So this one, we like to skip like the how's the weather today and get right to the nitty-gritty.
Yes.
What is a major regret that you have, if you have a major, or are you one of those people that like are like, I have no regrets? I personally have regrets. What is a major regret that you have that you can think of?
So first, I'm gonna say that annoying thing. I have no regrets, because like, and I'll explain why. Because I love my life. I'm so grateful. People don't stop to think about it, and I'm not gonna say as often as they should, because it's not their fault they don't think about it. But they don't think about how healthy they are. They don't think about how they just ate some food. They're like, it wasn't as good as the last time I ordered that pizza. It's like, you just ate some food. Like, you're alive, and that's more than can be said about like billions of years worth of lives that existed. Like, right now, you are alive. This is your chance. And like, I'm grateful, and every step I took somehow pushed me to another day where I feel like amazing right now.
That's what I mean by, isn't he such a peaceful person, everybody? He's like, has a peaceful like calmness in his voice. And first of all, can we acknowledge that he somehow dressed up perfectly to match my podcast? Look at his pants. He has navy blue pants, which match my navy blue wall. And he has a pink shirt, which matches parachute pants. And look, I have pink chairs. Look at that. So, and to top things off, I was practicing in the key of D minor, because like all week long I've been doing like D minor blues, and he comes here and he's singing in D minor, and I'm like, what the, like, like he's into, he's doing good. He's doing good. And like, do you ever get depressed or anxious? Like, do you have any like problems, or are you just like, are you like Gandhi, like what's your, are you a Gandhi? Like, do you have any like issues?
I would say yes, and everyone does, and I'm grateful for them, because like, to explain that, like, let me start with saying, when I get a little cut on my lip, it instantly makes me aware of like the other 99.99% of my body that's like perfectly healthy, and I didn't realize or think about until I got that little hurt. So it reminds you that you're alive. It reminds you that, you know, there is something other than good. Because if you're in bliss, you don't even realize it. You know, you're dreaming, you can't even appreciate those dreams until you wake up to pee, and you say, the best part, I left at the best part, but you wouldn't even know it if you woke up the next morning, forgot the whole dream. And that's what life is. I
feel like pain is an essential part of the human experience. Yes. And it's just like, somebody told me once, like, wouldn't you rather be in pain and have the opportunity to live than not to live at all? And I had to like kind of sit on that and think about it. And I was like, ooh, I guess I would rather feel pain, you know, and suffer through pain. Have you ever had any like chronic pain experiences or anything like that?
Oh, sometimes my back hurts.
Yeah. I went through a period of time. Well, actually a lot of periods of time. I had wrist pain. Like, I had really bad tendonitis that was really severe. I couldn't play piano for a year. And speaking of the evolution thing, I think that's like a sign that our bodies haven't evolved to do what we do, because we should be able to handle all the like texting and stuff that we do. And I don't think we can yet, because our body, like a lot of people have tendonitis and stuff. But anyways, that's another thing. Well, I remember having like chronic wrist pain for a year, and I had chronic back pain for a year. And then I remember during those times thinking like probably these are the periods of my life that drove me towards nihilism a little bit more, because I was just like, what is the point of this? What? But, you know, after recovering those experiences, it really did make me realize that some of the hardest things I went through were the things that brought me closer to my spirituality, if that makes any sense. Yeah,
and,
you know?
And if you look at that as a good thing, then it's good that you had that, because without darkness, light means nothing. You have to have something that you perceive as negative, and then you can appreciate the good things that are going to come afterwards.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
But I feel like you were saying something like 2 seconds ago. I wish we could go back and and it just really resonated with me, but I didn't want to.
What was it? Let's trace back.
Yeah.
I can, if we take forever to think of it, I can edit this out.
That's fine. Yeah. Let's see.
Rub my nose to try to find it. What was I saying? I don't remember either.
Oh my God. I'm toasty. I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm toasty. By the way, I'm drinking wine. He's not a drinker. But this is officially the first day of my spring break. I'm going to Austin, Texas tomorrow, and I had to sneak in a podcast really quick before I leave, but I'm just kind of solo drinking here. But cheers. Cheers. Everybody chooses their poison. I don't really smoke weed, but because it gives me anxiety, but I do like a little glass of wine here and there, you know, to each his own. So, okay, I have some more questions for you. I asked you that.
Wait, what was that last question? Maybe that'll jog.
Oh, the question was about what's your opinion on how humans are going to evolve? And I was talking about my wrist pain.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I wanted
yeah.
to say like, you have wrist pain maybe from like playing piano, and you could evolve. Not you, but like your kids could evolve to that only if, for whatever reason, the pain was so bad or did something that would cause you those to die out, and the ones who had some genetic modification where it allowed them maybe like longer fingers, then they survive. Then you would see the change in time. But like there's no way to like speed up evolution, and it doesn't work without certain people dying off, which we've kind of like stopped now because of all our medicine and like new technology. And so like we evolution is still happening, but not.
It happens slowly. I've heard it takes a really long time for these changes to occur.
Slowly, and if you're not going to die from getting whatever, or you're not going to reproduce less, then it won't have any effect in that regard.
Is there any physical changes in the human body that you're aware of from a long time ago that are completely different? Like, weren't the humans a long time ago like much shorter than us, or were there? What were some of the major differences between the human body, like in the Stone Ages versus today?
So yeah, for one thing, we did get taller, as Homo erectus came and it showed, that you had evolved more, and even now women are more attracted to taller men, and men tend to lie more. Like on dating apps, they'll round up like about 2 inches at least, and things like that, because we view it as attractive. You're better at maybe like a fight,
Yeah, I mean, I just had to. It's true, because I had to just put up this curtain in here because the lighting was weird in the room, and I was like, can you please, I can't reach the curtain, and he's 6 foot tall, and I was like, so it is like what is that? Why are women attracted to taller men? Because I have to admit, like, I have nothing against short guys. Like, I think there's somebody for everybody. Like, for a short guy, there's going to be a short woman that matches her, so whatever. But I personally couldn't date a guy who was shorter than me. And it might be messed up, but it's my nature. It's my selection process.
Absolutely.
Just like, you don't have to be 6 foot tall, but you have to be at least a little taller than me, or else I can't do it. Like, what is that? Why?
And you didn't choose that. It's just like, you don't choose whether you like vanilla or chocolate. It's not your fault. Yeah. And you're not shallow for it. But it is built into us in a way, because we like, for example, humans are right in the middle between pair bonding. They'll fight over their mate, and you have to be bigger and stronger, maybe have a more aggressive tone. Even like a beard shows that you're more masculine, and opposites do attract. So like, there is a reason why males and females are very attracted to each other, and also a reason why, for example, there's like a touchy topic, but trans people I
was literally just going to ask you like about that, but continue.
People don't find it attractive because evolutionarily it's just not efficient in reproducing. Any kind of ambiguity means, don't like subconsciously people don't want to mate with them, because historically the people who did that had more ambiguous features, and then they wouldn't be mated with as much.
It's kind of like, it makes sense, because it's kind of like, what am I being attracted to, because I don't know what I'm looking at, versus like a strong, like, oh, this is red, like this like has definitive features. So that I was going to ask you this, as a young person, and this is a sensitive subject, but I do like to talk about controversial subjects on here, so anyone feel free to chime in as we go along in the comment section. As a young person who believes in this opposites attract type of thing, what is your opinion and views on like the gender pronoun, debates and subjects that's going on today? Do you have any strong opinions about this? How do you feel?
Well, we're entering a new time where now all of us are communicating with each other, speaking, languages that we can understand, and the world is more. So we're like setting a foundation of rules, and we want to be, nice and compassionate to people and understanding. And I feel like, in a society, you let people do what they want, like, as long as they're not hurting you, and that's what makes people feel happy, and that's cool, and that like people should be respected by in the way they want to be respected. Well, here's an interesting thing. Like, evolution doesn't need anyone to advocate for it. We don't have to say, well, I believe that evolution led to a man and a woman. Sure, it did, but it doesn't mean like like I'm not trying to have babies or make more people in the world have babies. Like, you know, I don't.
Yeah.
So I go by society's rules and like whatever we deem is generally appropriate.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
But,
I have some questions about your background as a musician.
Okay.
See, like we get into all the other stuff. I forget to ask. Like this is supposed to be a podcast about. Well, it's a podcast about anything, but it's also a podcast about people's art forms. So tell me more about your background as a musician. You're mainly an improv musician. You're a singer. Do you play any instruments, or you're a singer? What's your background like? How did you become a singer? Like all that good stuff. Your story.
all right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm learning a few instruments. My story is, I should start all the way back.
Yeah.
I have ADHD.
Obviously, no, I'm just kidding. Right. It's actually not obvious to me because I feel like we all have something nowadays. So right. You don't strike me as like an ADHD person at all.
Yeah, and again, it's like weird too to categorize it, but and people change over time. But yeah, I definitely always was very high in energy, and I wouldn't say I lacked struggle or lacked attention, but I could only hyper focus on something I was really interested in, and something that would keep me entertained. Was making music. So I would always just be like, actually I didn't really like humming because my nose, I just recently got a nose surgery for it.
You did? What did you have a nose surgery on?
So I got like a what's it called?
Oh, is it when like you can't breathe or something? What is that? What is that?
Turbinate reduction.
My dad, I know what you're talking about. My dad got this surgery. He like couldn't breathe at night, and did it help?
It helps so much. I'm like so grateful for it. Right now, I'd be dead with these cats in here. I'd be like, so Andrea, the thing to
So that is like your chronic pain. Like that's a pain you went through. Like, because I feel like we all have pain and ailments, and that must have been a pain in the ass for years to have to deal with that.
Such a pain. And you know what? I just said one day, I was like, you know what? Let me just like fix it. I should just
save up the money and fix it. Or did your insurance cover it? Or?
Yeah, the insurance covered it, and I don't know why I didn't do it before. It's like almost like we have that one thing, and we just say like, it's just my thing. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't have to be.
You can like fix it. Yeah, exactly. Did that affect your singing? Oh,
it affected it because I wasn't getting enough air in as I wanted, but Anyway, let me focus on the positives. Back in like elementary school, I remember my teacher came to my mom and she was like, this kid like has some talent. Like, Danny can really do something. Like, and let's see, I started getting some voice lessons, and with Mr. Pettis, Tom Pettis. Mm-hmm. He's a great guy. Tom Pettis, shout out to you. And I did New Jersey All-State Honor Choir. Mm-hmm. And I scored first place for bass too.
Oh, nice.
And then I went again. I scored the first place for top 10 for bass again. And then I switched to tenor. I got first score for tenor. So I was like,
so you have a large range. You can do the lower. Yeah, because I've like when you said bass, I'm so used to hearing you sing like higher pitches, but you probably have just like a really large range.
I'm really trying to make the range as large as I can, and I find that when I inhale, which is something that people don't usually do when they're singing. Oh,
Jesus! Holy shit! That's
like, really
low.
Yeah, and people don't think about like using singing while inhaling, but it's so valid. Like,
wait, I wasn't even planning these questions, but now I have a lot of vocal questions because I study voice and I like teach voice and stuff like that. And I do run into some issues sometimes that like, I'm like, is it this or is it this? So from your opinion, because I hear so many different vocalists say different things about this, is it better to breathe through the nose or through the mouth? I hear so many, I can't come to an agreement on, because like some people say the nose because it like hydrates the fibers in your nose or something. And then some people say that's impossible. You're singing, breathe in through the mouth. What do you do? Do you breathe through your nose or through your mouth when you're singing?
I have heard my mom say something. She's a doctor. I have heard my mom say breathe in through the nose for something similar reason. Yeah. But I don't know. Like if you asked me like a few months ago, I would have said through the mouth because I just get it faster. It's like
that's how I feel like too. I've heard so many people say like you got to figure out how to breathe through the nose when you're singing because it hydrates your vocal cords, which sounds good in theory, but whenever I try to actually apply it, like it seems like it's too like I can't get enough breath.
Yeah, and I have the craziest solution. Something that like I want everything I said before, just throw it out the window. This is the gold nugget of information.
Yeah.
You will never, ever struggle with breathing while singing again. Imagine you have a violin and you put on the string. Why am I getting a call right now? let me put this on somewhere not on my lap. So you put on the string, you go, and you say, that was
That
awesome.
literally just sounded like a violin. That was weird.
Thank you. Oh, that was cool. Let me try it again. Like pick it up and go back around. Oh, I have to pick it up. But imagine the first guy who realized you could vibrate it both ways.
How are you doing that?
I was inhaling.
So you can sing while you inhale?
Yeah, that was right there. That was inhaling.
I don't know if I could do that.
Well, a baby.
I can't do that.
Well,
My God.
The thing
you
is,
really are you're talented. And you can beatbox too, right?
I can.
I can't. I don't know if I could sing while inhaling. Everybody who's watching this, try it. But
Are you saying you don't know if you can, or you don't know if you could?
I don't know if I can currently. Maybe I could, if that's what you mean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it takes.
If I try to sing when I inhale, it just goes. Like that's literally what happes.
Well,
that's insane.
It takes practice. And
I can't
first,
do it.
I want you to imagine there's a spider. Go. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Okay, let me think about it. But it sounds stupid. It sounds beautiful when you do it. It sounds retarded. Sorry. It sounds really. I'll edit that out. It sounds horrible when I do it.
I mean, imagine a baby the first time they tried walking.
Well, okay. I just did something, but that's not like. Wait, let me try it again.
That is so.
But that's not like the range I sing in though. That's I can't do the mid.
I could hit any note. That was inhaling.
Holy shit, my mind's blown. Maybe if you want to hit higher pitches, you should just try inhaling for the really high pitches. Because I can't seem to inhale for the middle pitches. When I try to inhale for the middle pitches, that just happens. That's crazy.
If the first time you walked, you fell and you said, never mind, I can't do it, of course it just takes more tries. Yeah. And it's essentially the same thing. Like it does work on a different muscle, but you can manipulate it and you can hit any note you want. You can change the timbre. It's insane. And it's like, can you whistle?
A little bit. Not really well, but I could.
Move your mic away from here.
Whistling inhale. I know what you're talking about. I've done that before too.
And
I'm not great at whistling, but every now and then I can hit it.
Yeah, just take some practice. And then when you learn how to alternate, you can time it perfectly so no one would know you were breathing the whole time.
You probably have a really healthy voice too because of how calm your voice is. Like I feel like I'm always like, hey, like I'm always like raising hey. I'm always putting, now you're making me conscious of this. I do get vocal fatigue a decent amount, and I think it's because like I talk really loudly. Now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna talk, but you talk so peacefully that like it probably doesn't put a lot of stress on your voice.
Thank you. I mean, I have practiced, at least mindfully, I want to say, speaking, thinking about how I sound, and that definitely contributes to it. Because maybe like insecurity, growing up with ADHD, you want to fit in, you want to like look cool, funny, normal, and so I guess maybe I was more mindful about how I sounded, and it's just practice, like everything really. Any
other like gem vocal tips for my vocal listeners? I know I have some people who listen to this podcast that are musicians, and even some of my vocal students watch this. So, do you have any gem? He is like,
I have the gem.
You should probably just quit lessons with me and just go with him, because he is like a seasoned vocalist. Do you have any other gem? Thank you.
I do have a gem.
Yeah.
And this is maybe even equally as important as being able to breathe inward while singing, which takes practice. Is that, it goes back to the categorization. We say whistle, and that's a thought that comes to our mind, and we say sing, but really it's just resonation in our mouth happening at different places, like that's happening around back here,
Yeah, I do try to stress that in like my vocal lessons, trying to teach people like how to feel the difference between singing forward, singing backwards, and like, it's very abstract. Like,
is
you know, with the
very
piano, it's very like, oh my, see, I'm already talking. Like, with the piano, it's very like, okay, I can see your hand. I can see what your hand is doing. But I feel like when teaching voice, it's so abstract. Like, you have to kind of like guide the mind to
Right.
figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I've been bad at piano. I mean, I would say compared to other people because there's a strategy behind it. There's like mathematics, and that's
Yeah.
something. Excuse me. That's a reason why I think always struggle with piano. It's because I could never latch onto the circle of fifths and all the like how structured it was. Our mouth, our body is fractal. It doesn't have perfect edges.
Yeah.
And it's a spectrum.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so abstract. You can go in any direction. And what I'm really trying to focus on now is to think about every pitch that comes out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Even these have different.
So like the human body is so much more than just
Than a 12
singing
tone.
pitches. It's like percussive as well. There's so many different yeah, I feel like a lot of singing is literally like messing around with different sounds. Like what helps me is to copy sometimes like different accents. Copying accents is a huge way to like discover your voice. Like
Wow. Yeah.
you know, what's a good way to find the nasal tone? Like, do you have any tips for that?
That's something I've actually been trying to work on because,
Yeah.
like as far as outwardly singing,
Yeah.
hitting really low notes is kind of tough for me. But I remember something I learned in high school,
Yeah.
which was, at least for guys, I know, if you want to hit a lower note, you have to go more nasally. The more nasal, I mean, it doesn't sound too pretty, but
Yeah.
the more nasally you go, you can go.
Yeah. How would you describe, what is it like? How would you describe how to make a nasal tone? Like, what do you do? It's so abstract, right? Like, it's hard to explain.
Or Mr. Krabs, SpongeBob, something like Squidward. Just think of, how do I, Yoda.
Yeah, you could feel it vibrating here.
Yeah, I actually don't know. I have to think about that more.
What's your opinion on the mixed voice? Like this magic, like people always talk about it. They're like,
Put so much emphasis. I still don't understand that.
yeah, people are always like, you have to find the mixed voice. Like you have to find the magic spot, like with the mix, the mixed voice.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much talk of that elusive, like especially like in classical training, they always talk about the mixed voice. I never really understood it, but
Yeah.
if you change your volume, you can hit certain notes in ways that you otherwise wouldn't. Like for example, let's say I'm whistling, because it's pretty similar actually.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's not vibrating really in the same place it was a second ago,
Yeah.
but you can still hear, like right there. Now it vibrates a certain way, but it's not like I was not whistling in the spaces between the vibration. So I feel like that's kind of analogous to what the mixed voice is.
Yeah.
It's just singing in a.
I feel like every vocal teacher talks about the mixed voice, but no one can explain how to get it.
Yeah, like what
Like
the
it's almost like it's like this magic. It's like the G spot. Like
The G spot of music.
It's like the G spot of music. Like everybody talks about it and says it's magic, but nobody like really knows where it is, and we don't think it's real.
Oh my god! All the musicians' ears have never been truly satisfied by the G spot. We're still waiting for it.
Yeah. Speaking of music, we are now going to get into a little bit of a improvisation. So give us a moment to set up, and then we will be right there. We hope you enjoyed the conversation, and we are now going to do a little improv. So we're going to set up. We'll be right back.
Hey.
Sharing a mic now. I hope he doesn't have COVID because my mic is now hooked up to the speaker. But here we are, and I want everybody to acknowledge that he changed his pants. He changed his shorts for the music portion of this. So and show him your socks too. He has mismatched rainbow socks, and we're going all in. And he's got piano. I should have worn my piano socks. So we are going in. So I'm going to pass the mic over to him, and we are going to jam. Here we go. So that was our song, what do we call that one?
Bad LSD trip. No, I'm kidding.
So what, can you explain to them what the hell is that?
So this is an automaton. This is an instrument, a Japanese instrument based off of the human vocal range. So let's look at the middle, medium. Here's some low. And here is some high.
It literally sounds like a rubber chicken, like one of those rubber chickens that you squeeze, but that just has like musical instrument capacity.
Yeah, I really like it because for one thing, it's lightweight, and I like to have everything that I could just, if you can't really bring it around and have it on the go, what's the point of even having it? You want to be able to just pick it up and use it. And I like it because it's a spectrum, and I love how intuitive spectrums are.
So that's it for today. We hope you enjoyed our jam and our conversation. Again, this is the Pranzata podcast. And if you're interested to know more of Dan Montealegre, did I say it correctly this time? If you're interested to know more of Dan Montealegre, I'm going to pass the mic over to him. He could tell you where you could stalk him.
All right. Do I just put my phone number in here, or what? How do people do this? My social security number is 15. All right. So my social media is flow_improv. I'm thinking about changing it because I want flow_improv. My name is Dan Montealegre. How else can you check me out? I think that's about it. All right. Oh, I have a YouTube. It's
you know what I'll do? I'm gonna put all this. I'm gonna get in contact with him, and I'm gonna put all this stuff in the bio. So check out the bio if you want to check out his YouTube as well. So that is Dan. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit like. This is the Pranzata podcast. This is how we do it here. We do it. We have weird conversations, uncomfortable conversations, weird, uncomfortable jams and music. And don't forget to comment on anything that we've done today, the jam, the conversations. And I'll see you guys later. Bye, everybody. Take care. I'm off to Austin, Texas right now. That's what's up.